Hello, this is News Extra Time, but not with your regular anchor. I'm Ian Ray Dunn, standing in for Fatima Umar Buba. Tonight is a bumper harvest, beginning, of course, with the Federal Executive Council, where national security was on the front burner. Now, more than ever, if you have been following the series of quite worrisome attacks in parts of the country. INEC has been speaking on PVC for party primaries. What is he saying? We'll bring you the federal government move that might over time make the teaching profession and educated-related courses most people's preference. And, of course, the lingering strike in our ivory towers and the NASU and SANU angle. We have an update for you. Spirituality holds sway as we take a peep into Muslim faithful and how they are coping with the Ramadan fast amidst harsh weather in some parts of the country. How are the roads being kept safe ahead of Easter? What more can I tell you? These are just a tip of what tonight's package is all about. So just sit back and enjoy the full package. After all, the taste of the pudding is in the eating. I'm Ian Ray Dunn, and this is News Extra. Just before we begin, it's good to know that you can follow this news broadcast live on our website, nta.ng/live, and all on social media platforms displayed on the screen for updates. Now, the federal government says it is not leaving anything to chance towards unmasking, apprehending and bringing to justice all those behind the security breaches, economic sabotage and wanton destruction of lives and property in parts of the country. The Defense Minister Bashir Magashi announced this to journalists after the meeting of the Federal Executive Council presided over by President Muhammadu Buhari. State House correspondent Adamu Sambu has the details.
5 memoranda from ministries, departments and agencies were considered and approved by the Council in furtherance of efforts at enhancing the socio-economic well-being and security of Nigerians. One of them by the Ministry of Defense on the purchase of operational vehicles for the armed forces as the battle against the nation's adversaries intensifies. The minister restated federal government's determination to put a stop to the resurgence of attacks by criminal gangs, especially in Kaduna, Zamfara and Plateau states.
We're really on top of the situation. We're planning hard to unveil those who are involved, and we'll tell you very soon the people that are carrying out these activities, what is really going on, and our efforts to ensure that all these activities are stopped once and for all.
Preliminary reports of what transpired at Kaduna train attack shows a kind of unholy handshake between bandits and the dislodged Boko Haram fighters from the northeast. But overall, I can tell you without any fear of equivocation that the various government is on top of this matter.
In the meantime, the Minister of Power, Abubakar Aliyu, secured an approval of 132.7 million naira contract variation for the construction of 2 substations at Kafanchang, with a 132 kV line base extension at Just substation on behalf of the TCN.
The second memo, which was also approved by Council, is the supply of handling equipment, haulage and operational vehicles for the TCN at 1,338,159,080 naira 88 kobo. There are heavy lifting equipment which the TCN requires in doing their work.
The Council also approved 400,000 as well as 100,000 naira respectively as fees for private seed companies and research institutions for each of the new variety of seeds produced and approved by a national committee for crops, livestock and fisheries for the nation's farming populace.
And it's very important that these new varieties are introduced to farmers because that is how to improve on the productivity and guarantee food security for our nation, helping us to fight and defeat poverty create jobs, and so on.
Information Minister Lai Mohammed, on behalf of his water resources counterpart Suleiman Adamu, announced the approval of 317.7 million naira augmentation for the completion of Pategi water supply project in Kwara State.
The good news is that this project is already 95% completed. Contractors are still on site working, and hopefully by the middle of June or July, be able to commission this project and bring succor and relief to the people of Pategi in Pategi local government area of Kwara State.
The additional funding, the minister explained, is to provide for, amongst others, the construction of perimeter fencing of the intake structure and headworks to avoid pilferage and vandalism of the equipment installed, as well as the extension of distribution network of the pipe-borne water to the Hamapategi University in the area. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Many thanks, Adamu. Still in the State House, 10 newly appointed members of the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission's board, as well as those of the National Population Commission, have been sworn in. President Muhammadu Buhari performed the ceremony in accordance with the provisions of the nation's constitution. Again, Adamu Sambu brings us details.
The appointees, 5 each for the 2 constitutional bodies, were nominated by the President and confirmed by the Senate, having satisfied with their requisite experience, professional competence and integrity. Those to fill existing vacancies in the ICPC are Senator Anthony Agbo, representing the Southeast, and Oyelafu Ode, South-South, Goni Ali Gujuba and Dr. Louis Mandama, Northeast, as well as retired AIG Olugbenga Adeyanju, Southwest.
Well, I feel great, excited, but I know it's a lot of work that I need to do to be able to meet the yearnings and aspirations of Nigerians, especially that of Mr. President, who we know has been making concerted efforts and is succeeding, meaning we have to add value to what he has been doing with integrity and sincerity.
Fighting corruption in this country is a very big challenging task. But I want to assure the President and all other stakeholders that we are going to add value in the fight against corruption.
4 out of the 5 commissioners sworn in for the National Population Commission were returnees for a second term in office, having been appointed for the first time in 2017. They are Benedict Upong from Akwa Ibom State, Gloria Izomfo Bayelsa, Patricia Kupchi Benue, Dr. Halilu Bala Kebbi, and Dr. Eitayo Oyetunji, Oyo State. Chairman of the National Population Commission, Nasri Isa Kwara, witnessed the ceremony in solidarity.
They've been part of the whole preparation, at least before the expiration of the tenure. Now that they are back, we will swing into full action. Every state is represented, and we'll make sure, by the grace of God, we'll get a great census for Nigeria. We are preparing to do the pilot census sometime in May. Once we do that, we give a gap of about 6 months, then we'll do the main census by the grace of God.
We are in for a new and better deal with census in this country. With the e-census, which is the first of its kind, all hands will be on deck to deliver a credible and acceptable census to the country.
I was part of the 1991 census, I was part of the 2006 census, and now I have the opportunity to be a part of this next census. I can assure that this census promises to be the most acceptable, the most accurate, and the most credible, free from political manipulation, free from political controversies.
The last time Nigeria had a national head count was in 2006. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Meanwhile, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo on Tuesday hosted the All Progressives Congress senators to a dinner at his official residence in the presidential villa, Abuja. President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, in the chat with State House correspondent Jude Onifade after the meeting, says that the Vice President intimated the APC senators of his intention to run for the office of the President at the 2023 presidential election. The President of the Senate also promised Nigerians of the commitment of the APC administration to good governance.
And we wish the Vice President, His Excellency, good luck in this endeavor. But let me assure everyone that the Senate APC caucus and indeed the National Assembly caucus of the APC will continue to work very hard for our great party, the APC, to continue to provide services for Nigerians and also work hard to ensure that by 2023, the next administration is an APC administration at the center, and majority of the states in our country, by the grace of God, will be APC.
Senate President Ahmed Lawan there, and in the Red Chamber, Senate has passed the 2022 Appropriations Act Amendment Bill for second reading. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Nkwo reports that the Senate Committee on Appropriations was mandated to present it at plenary on Tuesday for passage.
Matters 2020. Less than 24 hours after the 2022 Appropriations Act Amendment Bill was read for the first time on the floor of the Senate, the legislators are giving the money bill accelerated consideration as it passed it for second reading.
Aggregate expenditure is projected to increase by 192.52 billion due to increase in personnel cost by 161.4 billion and other service-wide costs by 21.05 billion.
And part of why this amendment has been sought for is because of the issue of the subsidy. The subsidy is going at a very high speed.
Tomorrow will be our last day. We adjourn tomorrow for the Easter break. And tomorrow, the Committee on Appropriations will bring the report so that we'll consider the report and then we close. It passed the 2022 budget of the Nigeria Customs Service of 369 billion naira.
The revenue collection of 3 trillion, 19 billion, 133 million, 200,000 and 308 naira be approved for 2022 financial year for custom and exercise.
Federal University of Health Sciences, Azare, Bauchi State, and the Federal College of Education, Jamaa Bauchi State Establishment Bills, all sponsored by Senator Jibrin Barau, passed second reading.
The enactment of this bill will help not only in transforming the decayed educational infrastructure in Nigeria. Therefore, distinguished colleagues, it is my prayer, an ardent call on you to consider the plight of the people who are desirous to becoming professional teachers.
Senate has confirmed the appointment of 4 persons as executive commissioners for the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission. Senators held a valedictory session in honor of the new national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Senator Abdullahi Adamu, the deputy national chairman North, Abubakar Kyari, and the deputy governor of Zamfara State, Mohammed Hassan.
And I repeat today as I leave this chamber, that as we are here, we are leaders of this great country. We owe this country a duty to unite in every way we can.
Senate condemned attacks in Kanam, local government area of Plateau State, and Tarka and Mbadwem, local government areas of Benue State, called for the provision of adequate security in the areas, as moved by Senators Hezekiah Dimka and Emmanuel Oke Jeff from the National Assembly. Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
And in the Green Chamber, worried about the loss of lives as a result of repeated terrorist attacks on communities, the House of Representatives has again called for urgent action by authorities. It asked the federal government to direct service chiefs to initiate a coordinated joint security operation in troubled spots to flush out terrorists. National Assembly correspondent Lamiali brings us details.
Challenges of insecurity were again debated at Thursday's plenary in the House of Representatives. For more than 2 hours, members expressed opinions on the various security breaches in different parts, with last Sunday's attack on communities in Kanam and Wasi of Plateau State as a peg.
That despite intelligence reports by the Department of State Services on the influx of terrorists flying to Plateau and other neighboring states of Taraba, specifically in Wasai and Kanam local government forests in Plateau, no proactive measures were initiated.
Now the question is why? Is it that they feel that those information were not, important enough?
Is it that they feel that there are some people behind this that they must not touch? We must go to the root of this matter.
The rising banditry incidences in this axis particularly. Our nation is under siege. We are speaking about Imo State, Abia State, Ebonyi State, Anambra State, Kano State actors are burning down police stations and killing human beings.
We should put all our hands on deck to ensure that Nigeria moves forward and that security is installed once again.
Renewed attacks in parts of Benue State was also raised by John J, eliciting more comments from House members.
This is capable of escalating grave insecurity in the country because Tier 2, the village in question where 12 people were killed yesterday, is on a trunk A road.
The House earlier resolution calling for the declaration of state of emergency in the security sector.
And I want to believe that it's enough warning signal. We must do our oversight. Committees that have report must send in reports. We have set several ad hoc committees, but there's no report for us to consider. It is through this investigative hearing that we'll be able to come out with solutions to the matters.
The lawmakers emphasize that security of lives and safety of citizens must be guaranteed as enshrined in the Constitution. Meanwhile, the House has resolved to investigate management of News Agency of Nigeria, NAN, for alleged victimization.
And when somebody deserves promotion and is denied promotion, and those who do not deserve promotion as he does, or he or she does, are promoted in his or her presence, I don't know how we expect such worker to be productive and to be a safe worker.
Plenary featured the second reading of 5 bills, 3 of which seek the establishment of Federal Medical Center Bali in Taraba State, sponsored by Abdul Salam Mubarak, Federal Medical Center Gwarzo in Kano State from Musa Umar, and National Football Academy Ubise in Imo State, sponsored by Emeka Martins. A bill seeking the establishment of Nigeria Diaspora Intervention Trust Fund is among the 15 that passed first reading. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
And on electoral matters, are you preparing for the 2023 general election? I guess you are. But wait a minute. Do you have your permanent voter's card? If you don't, then you have only 77 days to do that, because the continuous voters registration exercise will end on the 30th of June. And for the political parties, how far about party primaries? Because it's just 50 days to go, with June 3rd as the deadline. These questions are coming from our INEC correspondent, Mia Ogidi, who attended a media chat with the INEC chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, in Abuja. Let's hear from him on this and other details of the event.
The political atmosphere in Nigeria is charging. Many are running to be president in 2023. This exercise to victory lies in the hands of the electorate, or will I say in the permanent voters card, PVC. The PVC, a product of the continuous voters registration exercise. INEC resumed the exercise on the 28th of June 2021 and in 4 phases. Phase 1, 2 and 3 gone, now at the last lap. 2.5 million new registrations completed, 1.3 million valid, 1.1 million invalid, while more than 460,000 fall within the transfer and replacement category.
A total of 1,854,859 PVCs are now ready. They will be delivered to our state offices across the country over the Easter holiday. They will be available for collection by the actual owners in person after the holiday. The queues were not as long, but now I'm sure the queues will build up, particularly after this press conference. When Nigerians know that we are going to end on June 30th, you will see the queues.
But just a clarification here. Does the permanent voters card have an expiration date?
The PVCs don't have expiry dates. So Mia Ogidi, your card and my card and the cards held by all Nigerians are safe, and they will continue to be valid for all elections.
There is no expiring date for the permanent voters card, the INEC chairman says, but there is an expiring date for the conduct of party primaries, that is June 3rd, 2022. And only 10 out of the 18 political parties have notified INEC for the conduct of their party primaries. And no party primary, no election for that party, INEC insists. Mie Ogede, NTA News.
Many thanks, Mia. So glad to know that my PVC doesn't expire. Meanwhile, the Allied People's Movement National Working Committee has suspended 6 national officers and 3 state chairmen for alleged gross misconduct and anti-party activities. Timothy Yusuf reports on this and other happenings in some political parties.
It was an emergency meeting held behind closed door and presided over by the national chairman of the Allied People's Movement APM, Yusuf Dantale. The suspended officials were accused to have held an unauthorized meeting and appointed the former national treasurer, Mrs. Rose Kia, as the acting national chairman in violation of the APM constitution.
To have had advances from politicians who want to take over our party, okay, for their usual election year business, but we have refused, even though when they made financial inducement, some of our members will refuse. So those who are susceptible to such advances are the ones who are doing this. They are being sponsored by external forces to take over our party. This is just what is happening.
Moving to the National Secretariat of the Action Democratic Congress, the party's deputy national chairman, Dr. Mani Ibrahim, has declared his intention to contest for the office of the president in the 2023 general elections.
It is important to build on the vision of our founding fathers. What we need is a leader with the appropriate DNA, the DNA that is enshrined in the Constitution of ADC.
For the major opposition People's Democratic Party, its Presidential Zoning Committee has presented reports to the party's National Working Committee.
So I believe that it's NEC that has the statutory right to release the content of what we have done.
So our ultimate aim, as we keep saying, is to win the presidency.
Meanwhile, some of the PDP presidential aspirants led by former President of the Senate, Dr. Bukola Saraki, have visited the governor of Enugu State, Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi, in their continued efforts towards the emergence of a consensus presidential candidate in the 2023 elections.
All the aspirants are going to meet, because we're talking about a Nigerian. We're not talking about a northern aspirant or a southern aspirant.
I welcome consensus based on justice, equity and fairness.
The presidential primary election of the PDP is expected to hold between the 28th and 29th of May 2022. Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
And away from politics, let's now talk education. Do you remember the saying that a teacher's reward is in heaven? Well, it's no longer so, as the federal government is turning the fortunes of teachers around with the presidential approval of a new national teaching policy. Yes, you heard right. Abdullahi Musa Suleja takes a look at this milestone and what it portends for the teaching profession.
Over the years, the teaching profession has been relegated to the background, as many see it as a vocation of last resort due to poor remuneration, lack of motivation, and unfriendly teaching environment. In a bid to boost the morale of teachers, the federal government on October 5th, year 2020, at the World Teachers' Day celebration, announced an improved welfare package for them, known as New National Teaching Policy. And these are establishment of special salary scale, retirement by age is now 65 years, retirement by service now 40 years, and for effective implementation, TED funds will now be used to fund teaching practices, enhanced entry for graduating students into service, and special teachers' pension scheme to be established. To many, this looks too ambitious, while others see it as just a political statement. But signing the policy into law by President Muhammadu Buhari has proved naysayers wrong.
I want to start from applauding Mr. President for doing a wonderful job by looking into the teachers' welfare over time, they have suffered a lot of neglect.
Seriously, it will bring a lot of Nigerian youth and graduates to the teaching sector.
It will make a teacher to be a proud member of the society, and he can do his best to inculcate and impart knowledge. These teachers now, they now begin to have the joy to teach those students. They now begin to have the enthusiasm to do these things.
I'm sure many students out there would love to teach, because teaching is a good way to ensure that our future, the future children coming before us are better than we are.
For TED Fund, doesn't it have more to do having to shoulder funding students in teaching practice?
So we have a foundational problem. And to address that foundational problem, which is also within the general mandate of TED Fund, is for us to first make teaching attractive. We'll have some level of support, financial support, by way of stipends and scholarships. Even those who are very brilliant but are indigent, cannot pay for courses in other subjects, will want to come to education.
For some educationists, it is a robust package if government can match word with action through implementation.
We are very good policy makers in Nigeria, but sometimes we find it difficult in implementing these policies.
It is a good news for the teachers, and my prayer is that the policies are going to be implemented.
Some people that may be still doubting that government will make pronouncement like that, and then the implementation at times might be delayed.
However, the level of compliance by state where the bulk of the teachers belongs with inadequate funding poses a huge challenge.
They're all interested in it. Most, at least majority of them are. The challenge they have is in the revenue allocation formula. And I believe government is also looking at that in terms of a review of the revenue allocation formula.
With this development, there is light at the end of the tunnel for a profession that is set to regain its lost glory. Musa Suleja, NTA News.
Congratulations to the teachers. Indeed, teaching is a noble profession. Up ahead on News Extra tonight, the spirit of perseverance and endurance at its best among Muslim faithful, from what has led to the boom in ice block business to other interesting strategies you might even want to borrow a leaf from. And also, find out how individuals are keeping faith with the Ramadan fast in the face of the very harsh weather. Don't miss out on these and some road safety matters ahead of Easter as we take our first breather. Join us. Thank you for staying. The Ramadan season comes with the spirit of giving. To this end, the Precious Little Lives Initiative, a non-governmental organization, identified with the incidents in Abuja as food items were distributed to residents of some suburbs of the Federal Capital Territory. Sawa Khalil Ibrahim tells us more.
Hadiza is a young mother among hundreds of residents of Guzape in Asokoro district and Durumi internally displaced persons camp who came out to benefit from the humanitarian gesture of the Precious Little Lives initiative.
I'm very happy that the people that bought this thing for us, all of us, we are happy and we like it, and every year they used to bring it.
If you can get other people who has money, if they can assist like this, I don't think that it will be a problem. She always do it for us. Every blessing year, we always collect it. When you go to our mosque, we are going to put it in prayer. May God bless her.
This has become tradition of the non-governmental organization for over 5 years to different communities, lightening the countenance of the less privileged.
There's an adage that say all fingers are not equal, but the little you have, if you give, you know you have rewards. So I've been going to different places distributing items to the less privileged, both orphans and you can see this is Ramadan period, so you have to give thanks to the people.
Items distributed include grains and cooking oil. The organization is calling on other bodies to also reach out to the less privileged to complement government effort, especially at times like this. Salwa Khalil, NTA News.
Away from the FCT, there are situations in life when desperate situations require desperate measures. That's the scenario in Birni Kebbi, the capital of Kebbi State, as some of those observing the fast are using various strategies to beat the scorching sun and harsh weather condition currently lashing the northern states. While some of the measures are hilarious, others are a necessity owing to the realities on ground.
This is not the familiar sight during the lockdown brought by the infamous COVID-19 pandemic some time back, but the current reality in most parts of Birni Kebbi, where people, even motorists, are forced off the streets, apparently to take cover against the attendant consequences, where temperature is above 40 degrees. Every available tree shade is literally a sanctuary for the fasting population of the city. Some with river banks, while others go extreme by continuously pouring water on their body to cool off. How serious is the situation is what some of the residents of Birni Kebbi were asked.
Each and every day we do buy cold water of 4,000 naira just to pour on our body to cool off and have some relief. Honestly, we have no option than to take cover in the shade away from the sun because the sun is too harsh, and the longer you stay under the sun, the more difficult your fasting will be.
From the medical point of view, what other measure is there for a fasting person to do in a situation like the one in Birni Kebbi?
Inside this heat like this is good. You are somewhere where you have a free air circulation like that. Then where there is also water, free water supply like that, we are blessed with water in this place. We don't have shortage of water. Like, you can take your bath several times. Like this, if you take your bath now and then you expose yourself to the free air, then you feel cool in your body.
Tied with the current situation is the above scenario in most parts of Birni Kebbi, where people struggle to buy sachet water ice block that costs 150 naira. In some extreme situations, 200 naira per one.
It is not our fault that we sell ice block at that price. People don't know how much we buy it from producers who use generator to power their breathers.
Indeed, desperate measures there in the land of equity. Let's now cross over to Jigawa State and see how they are coping there also, because Mohammed Askira tells us that the month of April is usually characterized by hot, dry and dusty weather in most northern states of Nigeria. More so, this unfavorable weather condition has coincided with this year's Ramadan fast. Indeed, the need to cool the body system after the long, sunny and dehydrating day gives rise to the creation of Ice Block Market in Duse, the Jigawa state capital. It stepped out in the blazing sun and captured the mood at one of the Ice Block markets. Let's see this.
It's now 12 o'clock and the sun is already burning, but the people here do not seem to think much about this. The goal for every individual here is to get this share of the ice block.
The market is busy from 8 o'clock in the morning to 2 o'clock in the afternoon every day throughout the Ramadan period. The mini ice block market located at the flank of Dutse ultra-modern market is one of the busiest afternoon business hubs in the capital city. The freezers used here are not conventional ones. It is ingenuity at work. They are constructed by technicians with air conditioners attached from behind to give them speedy cooling. These freezers are of different sizes, with the capacity to contain from 500 to 800 sachets of ice block. These sachets of ice blocks are sold between 100 and 300 naira, depending on the availability of power supply in the city.
This is very important business. It helps in reducing the rate of unemployment among our youth. This is apart from the supply of ice block to our people.
Operators is worth it, as each of the freezer owners smiles to the bank with 150,000 naira and above every business day. The buyers of the ice block say having the ice block market is a good thing for them in this fasting period.
People are coming from all over the state, including those from Bauchi, Kano, Gombe, even from Borno State, from us here. I am a retailer of ice blocks. I bought today at 170 naira per sachet, and I will sell it at the price of 200 naira. The hike of the price is due to epileptic power supply.
Medical practitioner, however, raises concern that the hygienic protocols are not properly observed by some of the operators in the process of making the ice blocks. All things being equal, this local ice block industry, apart from quenching the thirst of its customers, also provide job opportunity for many youths in the area. From Dutse, Muhammad Askira, NTA News.
Jigawa State, popularly known as the New World, is now spared. I'm sure you would agree with me that ice block business is good business at the moment. Now, away from Ramadan, the new chairman of the All Progressives Congress APC in Akwa Ibom State, Obonga Stephen Untupekwe, has sworn in members of the State Executive Council of the party held at the State Secretariat in Uyo. Correspondent Clement Barakwe reports.
I will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, defend the Constitution of the party.
Speaking shortly after the oath of office and allegiance were administered on members of the state executive, the state chairman charged members to ensure the unity, progress and success of the party in the spirit of no winner, no vanquish. The chairman further assures members that no group has lost out and no group has won because the party stands as one united political family. Ntugepo also thanked Senator Gasula Kpabio and other leaders of the party who stood firm for the progress of the party in Akwa Ibom State. There was also the swearing in of chapter chairmen in the 31 local government areas and 329 wards chairmen. Chief Stephen Tugepo was on Monday sworn in by the Senator Adamu-led National Working Committee of the APC at the national headquarters in Abuja. Clement Barikui, NTA News.
And from Uyo, we head to Kano, where more than 20,000 households benefited from a Ramadan gesture extended by the Chairman House of Representatives Committee on National Security and Intelligence, Shaban Ibrahim Sharada, in Kano State. This is in addition to at least 10,000 others who enjoyed President Buhari's former media aide's Grand Empowerment Program initiated to reduce unemployment among women and youth. Abdullahi Mustafa has the details.
This is a happy day for at least 20,000 families in Kano State. So it is to many others whose lives were positively touched by the gesture of the Chairman, House of Representatives Committee on National Security and Intelligence, and member representing Kano Municipal Federal Constituency, Shaban Ibrahim Sharada. The 20,000 families received food items including bags of rice, maize, millet and other assorted food items in the spirit of Ramadan. 70 motor vehicles, 1,000 motorcycles, 500 tricycles were distributed. Also distributed are 500 bicycles, modern grasa oven to 10 women in each of the 44 local government areas of the state, as well as skills acquisition starter packs for more than 300 women. 50 applicants were presented with letters of appointment into various federal NDAs. That Shaban Sharada Grand Empowerment Program, the legislator claimed, is to enhance the livelihoods of the beneficiaries and boost the economy of Kano State. Shaban Sharada, who used the occasion to declare his governorship ambition, disclosed that he had already designed a plan of action for socio-economic transformation in the northern Nigeria's commercial hub. Senator representing Kano Central Ibrahim Shekaro, Kano State Chairman of the Buhari Support Organization, as well as G7 fractional chairman of the APC in Kano, variously described the gesture as unprecedented, apt and timely. Thereafter, 5,000 tricycle riders were each given 5,000 naira to settle an annual levy with the State Road Traffic Agency. In Kano, Abdullahi Mustafa, NTA News.
If you drive, you need to pay attention to this. And for drivers who drink and drive, this might not just be a good time for that. As the Federal Road Safety Corps has deployed more than 25,000 operatives to effectively cover 29 critical corridors during the Easter Special Patrol with mobile courts to try road offenders. FRC Corps Marshal Boboye Oyeyemi, who announced this during the official flag-off of the patrol at a Milton Park mega rally, says the move is to achieve free flow of traffic and reduce road fatalities during the celebration. Oyeyemi Ajayi brings us details.
Driving during festivities requires utmost caution due to busy nature of roads, with the high fatalities figures recorded. Some believe unseen bloodthirsty forces on the highways claim lives. Well, this age-long ideology is what the Federal Safety Corps tends to change with this 2022 Easter Mega Rally, which reveals that carelessness on the part of the road users is one key reason for crashes.
We place premium focus on ensuring that sensitization is in top gear to ascertain that vehicles plying Nigerian routes and all federal routes are not overloaded at all.
In an accident, it does not really matter who is right or wrong. What matters is who is left.
Though the roads are also contributive to accidents, but we must first of all deal with human angles.
The Corps Marshal Federal Safety Corps, Boboye Oyeyemi, represented by his deputy in charge of operations, warned that drivers who will be traveling during the season must take adequate rest before embarking on long journeys and avoid alcohol intakes.
Management, staff, zonal commanding officers, sector commanders, and their senior officers of the rank of deputy corps commander and above in the national headquarters, as well as the corridor commanders, are also deployed to the field commands to ensure compliance with the operational guidelines issued at the beginning of the exercise.
The Corps Marshal says no offender will be spared this time, as each offense will be tagged to its commensurative punishment, emphasizing this will help achieve a drastic reduction in road crashes in the country, even beyond the 50% plan. In Abuja, Oyeyemi Ajayi, NTA News.
Meanwhile, it was a black day for commuters in Anambra State as 5 people were burnt to death in a road traffic crash close to Northia Junction along Oka Enugu Onitsha Expressway. Chineri Fesi Okoye reports.
The road traffic crash, which occurred Tuesday night, April 12, claimed the lives of husband and wife in a Toyota Highlander and that of 2 Reverend sisters and the driver of a Toyota Hiace bus belonging to a mission school in Amansi, Kano State local government area of Anambra State. All the victims were burnt beyond recognition. Deputy Corps Commander in charge of operations in FRC Anambra State Sector Command condoles with the deceased family and urges road users to always drive with care.
Night travels is not what anyone should encourage, because once there is an eventuality of this magnitude, there is nobody to come to your rescue.
It's so heartbreaking. Our principal is just like a mom to everyone. Our boss and our driver too, they all died.
This happens to be my colleague, which happens to be the storekeeper at the lodge.
Okay, owner of the Highlander.
Yes, the owner of the Highlander. It's a sad event. Seriously, everybody cry over the issue that just happened.
Some motoring public who declined to speak on camera alleged that the use of one-way and overspeeding may have caused the crash. They appealed to federal government to complete work on the dual carriageway to save lives. In Oka, Chinyere Fesi Okoye, NTA News.
A very sad development there. Similarly, a boat capsized in Shagari River of Shagari local government area of Sokoto State, claiming the lives of 29 persons. Shehu Mohammed Data reports that the incident occurred on Wednesday morning while passengers on board were on their way to get firewood from a nearby forest.
Although the total number of passengers in the boat was not known, 29 corpses of the drowned persons, including 5 children, have so far been recovered, and the majority of the victims are between the ages of 12 and 17 years. 23 of them are females, while 6 are males. According to eyewitness Abubakar Magaji and village head of Gidam Magana, said the victims were on their way to get firewood from the nearby forest. He said the boat capsized before it reached its destination shortly after it hit the riverbank.
I was there, but I cannot give any assistance. It was later some good Samaritan came to assist. The incident occurred at some minutes to 9 o'clock in the morning. The victims called for rescue, but nobody was there to assist.
Asma Muhammad, one of the survivors, while narrating her ordeal, described her survival as a mystery.
Only God saved us, but we make some effort to swim.
In the meantime, funeral of the 29 drowned persons was led by Sheikh Umar Maidam Shagari and was attended by the State Deputy Governor Munir Muhammad Anya, Secretary to the State Government, government officials and people from Magana village. Similar incident occurred at Genga village in June last year in the same local government. In Sokoto, Shu Muhammadati, NTA News.
Now to some cheering news. Police welfare again takes a turn for the better as the Inspector General has promised those who have not been promoted from 2017 to date that their wait is over. The IGP, Usman Akalibaba, gave the spirit-lifting assurance while on a familiarization visit to the Zone 7 Command in Abuja. Francis from reports.
This visit by the management of the force to Zone 7 Command in Abuja is to boost the morale of officers and men in the task of policing the nation. The zone whose responsibility it is to supervise the FCT, Niger and Kano State commands is, however, not without some challenges.
The zone needs more serviceable vehicles to enable officers and men play their supervisory roles with the zone more meaningfully. In fact, you know, sir, more of our needs than we do because you are a father that knows his children very well.
The visiting IGP thereafter directed the release of operational vehicles, modern scientific and technological equipment to the zone for enhanced supervisory role.
As for the welfare, I bring you greetings for commission officers from ASPs to CSPs. We have also compiled your list for promotion. But we will start with the rank and file who are the greatest servants of the people. We intend to make our life better than we have met. We will do much in making our environments where we work more conducive.
The renovation of Zone 7 Command is amongst the 192 projects embarked upon by the IGP in the last 1 year. Franks is from NTA News.
Meanwhile, the presidency says resignation call on the president by the Northern Elders Forum is not a solution to the security problems facing the country. In a statement, the senior special assistant to the president on media and publicity, Garba Shehu, says the situation has built up to a worrisome level following decades of neglect. The statement notes that it is important that citizens know what the government is doing to deal with the situation and for politicians to come to terms with the fact that it is beneficial to all that they help to preserve the state. In response to the recent spike in terrorist activity, particularly in Kaduna and Niger State axis, the defense establishment, in response to presidential directives, has realigned and reorganized the ongoing operation in the areas, as well as that going on in the Niger Delta region, as new equipment are being deployed for maximum gains. And in the next segment of News Extra, we shall bring you Nigeria's success story in fertilizer production and the magic behind it, just as correspondent takes us through the downside of illegal mining on the environment. Welcome back. Nigeria's business climate is becoming increasingly attractive because of government's huge investment in agriculture and farm inputs as a means to diversify the economy. This is the view of experts as NTA Tuesday Live focused on fertilizer self-sufficiency and the game changer. Abubakar Akwanga reports.
Fertilizer revolution in Nigeria is yielding desired results, as from 5 functional blending plants in 2015 to about 40 in 2022, with the resuscitation of moribund plants across the country.
Coming of the presidential initiative, the narratives has been changed. The number of blending plants has increased dramatically. The only urea plant that was owned by government before, NAFCON, which was now privatized and renamed by the investors Noteric Chemical Industries Limited. But currently we have 3 urea companies.
Now the federal government is working towards self-sufficiency with strict regulations to check counter-production that may undermine genuine efforts in the drive to restore the lost glory.
Nigeria is self-sufficient as far as nitrogen production is concerned and the production of fillers is concerned. So 64% of what we require for generic blending is sourced locally. The balance 34% is imported. This is part of the move on the part of government to ensure that we foster import substitution and promote what we have comparative advantage in.
Experts are convinced that the increasing growth of fertilizer plants in Nigeria will serve as a game changer to economy diversification and huge export returns.
The components that are required to produce these NPKs are rightly available, but we are hoping that since it is available, the production should commence not before the farming season, so that availability in the market will make the product price stable.
Nigeria saw its highest local consumption of fertilizers. This is empirical. These are facts. You can check it up. Nigeria's highest consumption of fertilizers was last year, in spite of all the challenges of the pandemic that we had. We also saw a surge in the price because the initiative was restructured, which allowed for a freer market.
Stakeholders say participation of private sector in the industry will serve as an opener for generation of more activities in the production value chain. In Abuja, Abubakar Akwanga, NTA News.
Let's now do business with Musa Abubakar.
Thank you, Yuri. Now let's begin with currency. 2022 Central Bank Digital Currency Global Index indicates that Nigeria, Bahamas, China, Jamaica, Eastern Caribbean, Ukraine, Thailand, Sweden, and the Republic of Korea are the top 10 countries leading the race in digital currency. The index in its second edition stated that these countries led the retail project indices of central banks globally. In the index, a digital currency is a means of payment or money that exists in electronic form. Oil prices rose on Wednesday as investors grew more discouraged about the peace talks between Russia and Ukraine, feeding worries about tight supplies even after U.S. crude stocks rose by more than 9 million barrels in the most recent week, Reuters report. Brent crude was up $4.03 at $108.72 a barrel. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude futures gained $3.51 to trade at $104.13. And now to capital market. Stocks continue to advance at the Nigerian exchange this Wednesday, sustaining the week's record. At the close of trade, the all-share index stood at 47,367.31 points. Market capitalization also rose to 25.536 trillion naira. 391.8 million shares were traded in 5,419 deals, valued at 9.95 billion naira. Top trades were Guarantee Trust Holding Company, Zenith Bank, and UBA. Now that concludes business news. It's back to you, Aaron.
Many thanks, Musa. By the way, are you a football fan?
Yeah.
All right, so listen to this. The Nigerian Breweries has hosted 4-time UEFA Champions League legend Clarence Seedorf and 2 of his Nigerian counterparts to further promote football through its brand, Heineken. Samuel Johnson reports that the presence of the Champions League trophy in Nigeria measures to remedy the situation and sanitize the mining sector.
Osun State is endowed with vast mineral resources, including gold. The rush for the precious stone buried in Ijesha land and part of Ife and some rural villages in eastern part of the state has led to the increase in mining activities in affected communities. Although through mining, more job opportunities are created for locals and a boost for the state economy, it is undeniable that the negative impact is already being felt on the environment, with farmlands degraded and rivers polluted, particularly through illegal mining activities.
The Osun State government has dams. The Oyo State government has dams on this course of the Osun River. So one way or the other, the people are at risk.
Whenever there is water scarcity, we used to drink water from the flowing river and also for laundry and other domestic use. But now, we can no longer make use of the water due to pollution from mining activities.
We have some older men that are staying under the bridge to wash clothes. I know they were dry cleaning for people. Of recent, we are not seeing them. And that means it has effect on those people.
Among other devastations, the river course that traverses some communities in Osun, particularly the sacred Osun River, which over the years has served as spiritual strength and other purposes for devotees, have all turned deep brown, thereby forcing devotees and other visitors to stop drinking the water, nor for cleansing, for fear of contamination.
Osun River was never like this from time immemorial. This is no longer clean for consumption. We appealed to the state government, but nothing has been done. So as custodians of the sacred Osun River, we agreed not to allow devotees to drink from the river for the time being.
Worried with the development, Osun government is now working with the federal government on policies to regulate mining and mining activities in the country.
The UNESCO, the Osun River is very dear to them, so we are taking it seriously with the miners. We are not saying they shouldn't do mining, but they should do proper mining in such a way that it will not affect our water.
It is hoped that many farmlands under threat of illegal mining in affected communities will be salvaged for food security in Osun. In Oshogbo, Femi Afariogun, NTA News.
Let's now talk health. The Ministry of Defense Health Implementation Program has established an electronic medical record system to prevent and control the spread of HIV/AIDS, tuberculosis and malaria in the country. The Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Defense, Dr. Ibrahim Abubakar Akana, said this in a message to the Ministry's Health Implementation Program in Abuja. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa has the details.
These are site commanders and team leaders meeting in Abuja at the instance of the Ministry of Defense Health Implementation Program of the United States Army Medical Research Directorate, Africa, Nigeria.
As at March 2022, a total of 37,023 people with HIV/AIDS have been put on antiretroviral treatment in the program, and about 85% of these are civilians. The efforts of the partnership have contributed significantly to the decline in the prevalence of HIV/AIDS in the country.
The focus of the periodic platform is to appraise efforts of the partnership in stemming the spread of malaria, HIV and tuberculosis.
But we are actually at the verge of epidemic control in Nigeria for HIV, which is something we're reaching 7 years ahead of time. Okay, we're 7 years ahead of when we thought we would do this.
This partnership has developed the Defense Research Laboratory at Mogadishu Cantonment, Abuja, and equipped it with the state-of-the-art diagnostic technologies.
The program also caters for members of the armed forces families and those in the barracks. In Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
When News Extra returns from this next break we're about to take, you'll get to know about the latest on the NASU SANU warning strike, as well as what the National Assembly is saying at this period when the global community focuses attention on street children. Hang in there, as there is much more to come your way. Non-Academic Staff Union of Educational and Associated Institutions, NASU, and the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities, SANU, renew the ongoing warning strike by another 2 weeks to allow negotiation, but might resume a total shutdown if nothing is done. Emmanuel Aimiro reports.
The renewed 2 weeks warning strike started
last Sunday at the expiration of an initial 2-week strike. The unions are alleging lack of commitment to the implementation of collective bargaining agreements reached between 2009 and 2021.
We call on well-meaning Nigerians and stakeholders in the university system and beyond to prevail on government to honor the agreement it freely entered into with the Joint Action Committee of NASU and SANU in order to avoid a total breakdown of industrial harmony in the Nigerian universities and inter-university centers.
Another issue of particular interest is the university peculiar personnel and payroll system, an alternative payment platform put forward by the Joint Action Committee of NASU and SANU.
Having permitted our members to enroll into the platform, the problem of inconsistencies in payment with IPPIS, what we witnessed was the most haphazard and disorganized pattern of salary application.
The unions claimed many memoranda of understanding and action have been signed without implementation. Emmanuel Ayemiro, NTA News.
Hoping that an agreement is reached soon. Now, it's not every day you see street children on the hallowed gates of the National Assembly. But when the whole world dedicates a day to remember them and their plight, you just might find them anywhere. So, here they were at the National Assembly. Dayo Gunshola reports on the visit and the focus of engagement with some lawmakers on the occasion of the International Day for Street Children.
Available records have it that more than 150 million children live on the streets across the globe, and that many are forced into this situation by circumstances beyond their making. April 12th of every year provides a voice for such children, and that explains why these young men were guests at the National Assembly in commemoration of the day. Representatives of the leadership of National Assembly were on hand to admonish them to rise above societal limitations and make the nation proud.
You have to lead us in the right path. You have to do what is right. You must never be lured to join others to do what is wrong. You must right all the wrongs.
And I want to assure you that as a member of the National Assembly, I and my colleagues are determined to make sure that we change the tide in favor of the Nigerian child.
The focus of this year's International Day for Street Children is to celebrate frontline workers who explore solutions tailored to the need of the children. From the National Assembly, Dayo Gunshola, NTA News.
The full package of the ECOWAS stabilization initiatives in some troubled states of the sub-region is set to be rolled out. About time, you will say. At a stakeholders validation workshop in Abuja, development partners shared their experiences at the pilot stages to give the implementation a firm foundation. Calvin Ewonuaye reports.
In recent years, the West Africa and Sahel regions have experienced several challenges that pose risk to their stability and development. Recurring incidents of coup d'etat and terrorist attacks have become a cause for concern, leading to a rising state of instability in the affected countries. This phenomenon has adversely affected political and socio-economic development, with vulnerable groups such as women, youth and children bearing the brunt. Since 2017, the Lake Chad Basin Commission and the UNDP have been test-running the Regional Strategy for Stabilization program in the affected member states. This workshop is to evaluate the pilot intervention strategies and adopt a framework anchored on the new way of working, which emphasized a whole-of-society approach where everybody will play a part.
We have conducted sensitization missions across all the 4 affected countries and strategic partners to secure their buy-in.
I see that between now and another 3 years, we would almost have an envelope of 50 million euros to be divided amongst the 3 countries. Eventually, other countries will come on board.
Issues of funds application to most critical aspects of the implementation of the stabilization program were also analyzed, with focus on human development and peace building. In Abuja, Kelvin Ewonwaye, NTA News.
So let's take our last break for the night. After we